I think I'm just going to ask maybe a few questions, and we can open it up to the audience. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So it's a pretty incredible thriller, and the pacing of the film is very important. Could you talk about originating point of the working on the film? Like writing and directing.
Like kind of where it started. Yeah. So it's like the premise from the film actually came from I stumbled across a YouTube clip with a real 911 call. And I was gripped by the suspense of it, but mainly the fact that it felt like I had seen images, only listening to sound. And then the real fascination started when I realized that everyone would see different images, and that this could be the premise of a film, working with the audience imagination and everyone in a way experiencing their own unique film. And from that, me and my co-writer started doing research, going to dispatch centers in Denmark, and through that we found the idea for the character. Because we met police officers that worked there against their will, you could say. And then naturally you think the most dramatic thing, what could be the worst reason for someone to get put here? And that led us to interviewing police officers that had shot in the line of duty. So it started with a very simple idea, and then from that idea, through research came the story. Yeah.
So when you were writing the story, you made a background story for the main character, but we can just guess a lot of things, but we don't get to know everything based on the research.
Yeah, and vivid imagination. Yeah, and I would say a big part of the editing process, like it is a crime story, mystery story, so it is a lot of A leading to B leading to C. So it wasn't a lot of restructuring the film. A big part of it in the editing process was how much do we tell about his background, and that was very much taken away. Yeah.
The actor is wonderful. I mean, he's not super well known here, but he's done a lot of work in I guess, in Denmark, film and TV series.
Yeah, he's like me. He's originally Swedish, living in Denmark. He's lived in Denmark since he was 6 years old, though. But he's quite famous in Denmark and Sweden, doing TV and film. Yeah.
But he gives an incredible performance because everybody sees it's like. It's just you, just there. So it's like a lot of like the voice, the emotion, and the way obviously it's shot. So can you also talk about the work on the voice for him and for the actor, or just a voice on the phone, the way he interacts and the way it was shot?
Yeah, so the way we shot the film is we shot the whole film in 13 days in chronological order. And we shot it with 3 cameras, most of it. And the sections we cut it up in would be between 5 and 35-minute takes. And he would actually call or receive calls from the other voice actors, and they would be further down the hall in another room with me. So I would sit there with monitors and kind of direct them throughout the takes. And we did these long takes to get this real-time feel in the acting as well. So like towards the second half of the film, the takes get longer to make him more exhausted, like as we were shooting, to get this, real-time feel.
You didn't let him sleep. It was just like bang, bang.
Yeah, something like that.
But how did you cast the voice actors that would work with him?
So the voice actors were casted like a blind audition. We only got like a character name, and it said 1 to 7 or something. So we're only casted judging on the voice. And the main thing was when you only have voice, we were looking for voices that would have a very specific feel and could help create the image of the person. Because normally you have a face and what they're wearing and everything, you know. And here we only had the voice, so it has to be a very specific kind of voice. Yeah.
But it's difficult because also, you know, like you're making a film for also an international audience. So the voice has to carry over a lot of feelings that will be mostly subtitles and not dubbed. So you just have to think about all these things. And it worked really well because, I mean, I don't know if anyone speaks Danish here, or maybe a few people, yes. But it does work. And, you know, I don't speak the language, so it was pretty amazing.
We didn't think about the international
you didn't think about
thing
it
at all.
You were not thinking of your international career?
Yeah, we just tried to make a film. Yeah.
So what film were you thinking about when you were writing and directing the film? There's a few films that you know that are have a claustrophobic feeling, and also films made in one take. So you go from Hitchcock to, you know, like the more well-known American film, like you know, Phone Booth and Buried, and maybe, you know, like things like this. And so what were you thinking when you were working on this?
I mean, I think I watched all the other like phone films. Also like to see what are they doing and what can we do different in a way. But like they weren't really an inspiration. I think the biggest inspiration for us was the research and this podcast called Serial. And especially, maybe a lot of you know it, the first season is like a true crime mystery story. And in every episode, they would give you more information about the people in this case. And the more information you got, your images of these people and the places they were in changed, for me at least, listening to it. And me and my co-writer really tried to work with that as like a structure when writing it. And the way we shot it, I was very inspired by Dog Day Afternoon by Sidney Lumet. That also has this, I think, very like tense, real-time feel to it. So like the way we shot it, and that was like the main inspiration for that. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, the way you like structure the film and the way the timing is working, I was thinking of 12 Angry Men, which is also a Sidney Lumet film, and where you go and change your mind as the movie goes along, but it's super fast-paced too, a little faster, but...
yeah, we looked at that film as well. That is much more a shot-by-shot type of film, but actually like the way he uses the two rooms, he's got like a back bathroom, and he also uses the weather, the heat. We use the rain, but I looked at that film as well, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you watched a few films. Were you thinking also about, you know, the thing we know more here, it's like the Danish like TV shows and a lot of like the Nordic noir that we would consider maybe as an influence for you. Is it something that you would be familiar with in terms of influence?
No, I wouldn't say I'm very inspired by that. I think there are some good Nordic noir, but I think that have been more inspired by American crime films, and especially like American 70s film, because I think they were rooted so much more in reality and real people. Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay if you don't embrace Nordic noir. We like it too, but we like American 70s a lot. I want to make sure that we can open it up to the audience, and we do have microphones, so if you want to raise your hand, there's someone here. Yes, and the microphone is coming to you. Yes.
Was there any significance to the Band-Aid on his finger?
Yeah, he broke his finger like 2 weeks before we started shooting the film, and then like the day before we started shooting, he asked me and my DOP, should I take it off? And we were like, no, keep it on, and people will read things into it. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
So you actually torture your actor for the film?
I didn't break his finger.
It's not what I hear. There's someone here on the...
Yes, I have to say...
Oh, wait, sorry, wait, microphone coming to you, so we don't have to repeat for everyone.
I found not referencing the Band-Aid like entering a gun into a plot and then not using it. So, but that's not what the question I had.
Oh, no.
Because I love the movie, but I do feel that was distracting. I expect it to be resolved. The question is, who did you cast for Matilda?
It's a 8-year-old girl.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
But when we shot the film, there was like a stand-in actress playing that part because we did these long takes with a lot of text. So we used adult actress, and then we redid that in post. And she had this trick where she would. I had not really been working with kids, and I knew she had to cry. So, but she just told me, "Don't worry, I'm just gonna think about my dead hamster," and then we're styling. So.
You're totally ready to work with kids and dead hamsters. You're going to make a lot of friends. There was someone there on the side, right there.
Hi. I was curious about how the pacing sort of evolved as far as going from screenplay to perhaps rehearsal, and then ultimately when you're on set and then throughout the edit, you know, how that's sort of, if it's like a vision that's sort of carried over, or you sort of found new elements throughout the whole process?
Yeah, so I think we didn't do any rehearsals at all. We did like one dry table read because we wanted this fresh feel when we started shooting. But the pacing, I think, was very much controlled by the actors on the other end of the line. Yeah, like the voice actors, I could direct the pacing by directing them while we were filming, and obviously it was a big thing in the edit as well. Yeah.
Did you work on the editing yourself, or did you have people to work with you?
No. There is an editor, Kalle Lofe, edited the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you work at all on the editing?
I was a lot in the editing room, but I did never touch the keyboard.
You were not
She
allowed?
would never let me.
But you're happy with the way it was edited?
I'm very happy about the way it was edited. She's a great
no,
editor, I think.
it keeps the tension all along, and it's very important to keep it like this. There's someone there? Then I'll go to the other side. Yes.
Very quick question. Is the title in English the same as the title in Danish? Don't speak Danish.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like the title better in English.
What is it? What does it mean in Danish?
In Danish, den skyldig means singular. No, it means a guilty. Like the guilty could be one or many.
In English, it's the guilty, right? Just one.
No, but as I see it, okay, you guys are better at English than I am. But as I see it, the guilty can also be several. Yes.
You got me there. Everybody's guilty. There was.
It's called Le Coupable, I think, in
yes,
French.
that's super Sidney Lumet type of title. Yeah. There's someone here in the middle. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
I actually, when the credits were coming up and the title "The Guilty" came up, it occurred to me that it could equally be called "The Innocent," and I was wondering if that was a possibility, or.
Yeah, it was we never thought about calling it that, but it's, to me, like the whole idea of guilt in the film is to start the film out very much as being about right and wrong and black and white. And I think, without going into what the message or whatever of the film is, I think what we wanted to do was to start out the film both genre style, but also like in the world view or whatever that's being presented as very black and white and being about right and wrong. And the idea is to kind of deconstruct the whole black and white idea of guilt. Yeah.
So you're bringing like gray shades into a black and white idea, and that's why also it makes it so captivating, because you have the background of the main actor and also all these stories that keep switching and changing around.
Yeah, but also I think what I love about working with genre film is that when we see a genre film, we have some very clear expectations of it. And these archetypes of what is a victim and what is a perpetrator, and the police officer going against the rules is often in film like a good thing, because the system is failing and he's going rogue and all these things. So we definitely, me and my co-writer, played with these archetypes of how you set up a film and what that leads to in expectation, you know. Yeah.
There's a question right here, and the microphone is coming to you.
First off, thank you so much for the film. Obviously, sound plays a huge role in the film to really showcase these different spaces. I was wondering how that sound design production or process, how that was to you.
The sound designer is sitting on your right hand side.
Perfect.
Do you want to answer it? You got a microphone right there.
Yeah, he has a microphone.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. No, I won't stand up. The sound design was very character-based, because that's what Gustav is all about. So we spent most of the time actually building the voice acting, or editing the timing, and redoing all the voice acting a lot of times to get that exactly the way we wanted. And when we had that, then we built this suspenseful sound design around that, and played a lot with where we wanted the audience to be in the space, with him or with the characters on the other end, and playing with the subtleties of the sound design, because it's not a very there's not a lot of effects, but there's a lot of subtleties that we really.
Yeah, and it was also about like trying to go with his mental, where he's at, the character, where he's at mentally, and when he engages, the sound engages as well. Yeah.
So you spend most of the budget on the sound design.
We had longer time for making the sound than shooting the film, so yeah.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that works. There's someone right there, and okay. Yes.
I realize that it doesn't have to be a black or white answer, but I love the ambiguity at the end where when he admits what really happened to Ibn. And I was wondering if you were thinking that he was just so completely involved in the moment that he said something in public that he didn't mean to.
That is, yeah, I mean, I think it's about a release in a way. I don't want to talk too much about the ending or what this means, but yeah, I don't know.
Is it because you're thinking of a sequel?
No, it's because I want it to be ambiguous, the ending, and then if I sit here and explain exactly what I think, then
She's
it's not
going to
very
tell
ambiguous
everyone
anymore.
what you said.
I'll tell you afterwards, okay? No problem.
Meet you in the lounge. There's someone right there.
Going towards about the ending, who does he call?
That I'm going to tell you. No, I can say this much: when we wrote the script, I had a very clear idea of it, and when we shot it, I had a very clear idea, and I told the actor, "This is who you're calling." And I think the moment you say this is the final cut and the film is done, it also happened something to like. For me, it also became a question that I don't have the answer to anymore, because now it's not my film anymore. It's everyone's film, watching it. So I'm actually not as convinced as I was before. I don't know.
you still embrace the film you made.
Yeah, definitely, but it's become something else. The moment while you're working on the film, then you have all the possibilities of, and then it's kind of like you can see the backdrop when you're making the film. You can see the next 2 seconds of the cut before the cut, But I think the moment the film is done, then it becomes like something new.
It doesn't really belong to you anymore in the same way because you share it with an audience.
Yes.
And everybody who's watching a film at the same time, everybody has a different opinion, which is pretty incredible in a sociological way too. But I think there was another. We have time for like 2 questions, so right there, yes.
Hello. I was wondering if this was actually your first film, and if it is, can you talk a little bit about how you worked your way to it? Is this something that you've been thinking about for a while? How did it come to be, and why this particular film?
Yeah, this is my first film, and I made it with co-students from film school. We shot it like the Danish Film School, and we shot it basically a year after we graduated. And it was basically me and my producer and my co-writer that have been working together all the time at film school. We sat down and said we wanted to make a film together, and we set out to look for an idea that would be doable fast, because a lot of people, they have to go for years, only like keep making short films, and we wanted to make something straight away. And we were looking for an idea that could only be made for a low budget, and where that was the strength of the film. So yeah.
But, I mean, you obviously work with a lot of constraint in terms of like time, budget, cast, but it probably gave a movie a lot of strengths in terms of the achievement at the end. So I think that movie is going to be made into an American film with a lot of different voices. You'll become rich, don't worry. We have time for maybe one last question. There's someone here.
Hi. Thank you. It was a great experience, and I had a question. I think one of the things that makes it a good movie, a great movie, is that it's in one room. It's shot in one room. It's very almost theatrical, and I do think it's funny you referenced the movies of the '70s, which was a really great time in American movie making. And do you think it's possible that some of the filmmakers of today could recapture that same edginess and keep it in one room and not screw it up by opening it up into like backstories with like showing the actors and the people and the other sound? Would you have any control over that, do you think? Let's hope. Like if you sold it to an American filmmaker, I'm thinking of all the ways they could screw it up today. By showing the actor, the heroic actor, and the wife, and like the wife who leaves him, and like ruin it by opening it up, right?
Don't open it up.
Don't open it up.
Don't open it up. When you sell the right to the American
Yes,
producers, don't open
please.
it up. And for your next movie, don't open it up.
Keep it in one room, please. I guess it's not a question.
That's your strengths.
Thanks. Thank you. It was a great experience. And do you know if anyone's interested in buying it at this point? Not me. I'm sorry. It's not going to be.
Al Pacino is buying it. That's it.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see make this movie in America? Which American director would you like to see make it?
I don't know if he knows.
Right.
Okay, Tom Cruise is doing it, and they're gonna show everything.
It's a great movie, but you can see completely or like an American film could just like take it over. So, but just make sure you keep control. Take the money, but keep control. It was really great to have you here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Wish you good luck for the rest. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.